Welcome back, friends, to the Food Freedom Podcast. I am Coach Mary. If you're new here, this podcast is all about helping you break free from food addiction, binge eating, emotional eating, and that exhausting obsession with food that's been running your life. And so if you've been listening for a while, welcome back. I'm really glad you're here. Before I dive in, I want to make sure that you are on my email list. Go to foodfreedomwithmary.com to get on that list. And my email is where I send my best food sobriety tools, mindset shifts, and updates about coaching and programs that don't always get shared here on the podcast. You can get on that list again by going to my website, foodfreedomwithmary.com. So now let's get into today's episode. I want to talk about why sometimes this recovery thing just feels so hard, right? If you've ever tried to quit sugar and ultra processed carbs, your binge foods, your drug foods, you know how crazy it can feel, right? Like 1 minute you are totally committed, you're done, you're serious this time, and then suddenly you're standing in the kitchen eating something you swore you weren't going to eat. Does that sound familiar to any of you? And then when we do that, like the shame or the guilt hits, we start, with what is wrong with me? Why can't I just stop? I know this hurts me, so why do I keep doing it? And here's the truth that I want you to hear today, okay? This is not a logical problem, okay? The voice of sabotage, the voice of our eating disorder, who I like to call Ed is illogical, okay? So this is not a logical problem. You are not weak, you're not broken, you're not lacking discipline. You're just dealing with a biological, psychological, and behavioral trap that has been wired into your brain and your body over the years, okay? So let's talk about what's really going on. Number one, sugar manipulates your brain chemistry, okay? There's no way around it. When you eat sugar, flour, grains, ultra-processed carbs or binge foods, your brain releases dopamine, and it's the same neurotransmitter that's involved in drugs and alcohol and gambling and sex, right? Like dopamine doesn't just make you feel good. It teaches your brain, hey, this matters, so do this again. And over time, your brain starts to associate sugar and your drug foods with relief and comfort, reward, survival. And so when you try to stop, your brain doesn't say, oh, okay, she made a healthy choice. Your brain says, danger, we're losing our dopamine source. And so it starts pushing you with cravings, obsessive thoughts, a sense of urgency, that feeling of panic and anxiety. And that's not you like being dramatic, okay? That's literally your neurochemistry fighting to get the hit, fighting to get its fix, okay? Number two, you've been using sugar to self-medicate. And most people don't just eat sugar because it tastes good, okay? I think, there's no argument there. It does taste good. They eat it because it changes how they feel, right? It temporarily numbs stress. It temporarily quiets any anxiety that we're feeling. It can temporarily soothe loneliness or distract you from, being overwhelmed. It gives a hit of comfort when our life, feels heavy and chaotic and unmanageable, okay? And so for years, maybe decades, it was for me, sugar has been your a go-to emotional regulator. So when you remove it, you're not just quitting. You're not just quitting food, right? Like you're losing your main coping tool. And obviously, and of course, that can feel terrifying. It can, cause you to feel panic, feel anxiety, feel raw. And that doesn't mean that when you feel that way, that doesn't mean that you're incapable of changing, right? It just means that you are finally feeling what food used to cover for you. Okay. Number 3, your body is physically dependent. Your body adapts to whatever you give it. So if you've been running on sugar and insulin spikes and glucose, ups and downs, your body becomes dependent on that cycle. It's all it knows. So when you take sugar away, you don't just feel cravings, you can also feel fatigue, irritability, like you're snapping at everyone when you're going through withdrawal. You get headaches, sometimes shakiness, because when you're used to your blood sugar running high and when you remove the sugar and your blood sugar goes more normal, not actually low, you can experience some shakiness. You feel anxiety, brain fog, and you feel a pseudo hunger that feels out of control. Okay. That's withdrawal. Okay, that's what withdrawal is like. And funnily enough, a lot of people will quit eating, sugar, a lot of sugar. They'll reduce their carbs. They'll feel those things, and they will take a cue from their ed voice and say, "Oh my God, I'm feeling sick. This feels horrible. I feel awful. This is a sign that I need carbs, that I'm supposed to eat brownies, that my body needs these things," right? But it's just deception. That is literally what withdrawal feels like, okay? It's not that you need those things. It's your body is detoxing. Your body is used to having that present, and it's a shock to take it away. And that doesn't mean that you're supposed to continue abusing your body by eating those things. Okay. And so you don't feel that because you're weak. Your metabolism is just trying to recalibrate. And this is why the advice of, well, just eat less, count your calories, that doesn't work. You're not dealing with a calorie problem. You're dealing with a fuel system that's been hijacked by too many carbohydrates and not the right kind. Okay. Number 4, sugar affects your decision making. Here's a thing that a lot of people don't say, okay? Sugar doesn't just make you crave more sugar. It actually impairs the part of your brain that's responsible for impulse control, planning, judgment, saying no. So when you're deep in sugar and carb addiction cycles, your brain is literally less able to make good decisions. And that's why it feels like you turn into another person around your drug foods, okay? You're not suddenly stupid, okay? Your brain chemistry has just been compromised. And so all of this, this is why willpower fails, because it's not a moral failing. This is a rewired brain, a dysregulated nervous system, a dependent metabolism, and a learned emotional coping pattern, and they're all stacked on top of each other. So it should be no surprise that moderation keeps failing you, right? No wonder you keep feeling like you're in a tug of war. But there's good news, there's hope for you. The brain is plastic, okay? The body heals, and emotional skills can be learned. And so when you remove the drug foods, when you stabilize your blood sugar, when you learn to feel your emotions and sit with them, instead of eating them, then the cravings calm down, the food noise quiets down, your thinking becomes clear, and you're in a position to take your power back. And I know this because I lived it, okay? I was trapped in this cycle for over 30 years. I didn't start to work my way out of it until I was 43 years old. And food sobriety gave me my life back. Okay, so if you're listening to this and you're thinking, oh my God, this is me, I want you to keep tuning into this podcast, first of all, but also I want you to go grab my free beginner's guide to food sobriety, because inside of it, you're going to find a self-assessment, an explanation of food addiction and what food sobriety means, and the first steps to getting out of this cycle. You'll also find a handy hunger scale in there that can help you today, starting today, give you a framework for just practical purposes of making better food decisions. So you can grab it at the link in the show notes. And if you're ready for real support, coaching, structure, a roadmap to follow, and accountability, I also have options for that too. You can see the links to those also in the show notes. So I just want you to know you don't have to fight this alone anymore. You're not meant to fight it alone. And lastly, if this episode helped you, please share it with someone who's struggling. And don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss any future episodes. And last thing is I want to remind you once again that because you have this affliction, it does not mean that you're broken or weak. And the truth is you absolutely can recover. Thanks for listening, and I'll see you next time.